All right, welcome back, folks, to In the Game, WBKS1.com. To my right, she is
Coach V.
To my left, he is
Short Fuse, aka the Ghost.
Sorry about the break. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's live radio, so it is what it is. All right, we're back live. We're talking a little NFL. We're talking now, Ghost. I want to ask you something. We're talking about the LA teams, and we're here's a question. Actually, Coach V, I'll start with you.
Okay.
A couple of questions about the NFL that I picked up in my during my day. Who's more likely to struggle down the stretch? Would you think it would be the Chargers or the Patriots?
Ooh. I would just say the Chargers.
Ghost? Who's more likely to struggle, the Patriots or the Chargers?
Patriots.
Patriots, wow. I'm going to go with the Chargers because the Chargers haven't proven anything to me over the last few years, and that's what they do. They always seem to find a way to screw it up. Who's more likely to win the division, Coach V? Would it be the Bears or would it be Washington?
They had that question on.
That's why I said I picked it up. Don't give away my secrets, all right? I said I picked it up during my day.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to be just like a homer and just say the team from Washington.
All right, Coach Ghost. Who's more likely to win the division? The Bears.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Bears because I just don't believe in Washington. And finally, Ghost, I'll start with you on this one. Given the choice of a coach and a quarterback, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Sean McVay and Jared Goff, or Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes?
What are we talking about? Just for this year?
Yes, for this year.
Man, the same talent. We talking about the rest of the same talent on the teams?
I'm talking about as it is right now. Who would you take?
Yeah, because that's different. I don't know. If you're gonna tell me you give me McVay and Andy Reid and Mahomes on the Jets offense,
no, I'm telling you the teams right now.
Give me McVay and Goff because I like the defense better.
Okay, Coach V.
Which means I don't really care about the quarterback and the coach.
Coach, that's the same other question. I think I would probably take. Who's my other choice?
Reid and Mahomes or McVay and Goff?
Oh, you mean to get me through the playoffs and all that
I'm
stuff?
talking to get you through the rest of the year.
Oh, well, then I'll go with Reid and Mahomes.
All right, I'm taking McVay and Goff. I've yet to see Andy Reid win a big game. He's won a lot of games. He's a good coach, but he hasn't won the big one. He's been to the NFC Championship, 5 times, only won once. He's been to the Super Bowl once, did not win that. So I'm going to go with that. Now, we're going to jump in. Before we got the callers, we got the great Jamal Murphy calling in, Gerard Hector calling in, talk a lot of NBA with us. There's a lot going on in that. I want to talk to you about the power rankings. Let's run through the power rankings as the NFL. You got ESPN. We're going to go with the ESPN power rankings just because it's easy and everybody knows ESPN. They have the Saints at number 1 at 8-1. They have Kansas City at number 2, 9-1. The Rams at number 3, 9-1. Chargers 4, 7-2. Steelers 6, 2-1 at number 5. Number 6 is the Patriots. Number 7 are the Bears. Number 8 are the Vikings at 5, 3-1. Number 9, Carolina Panthers, and number 10, the Houston Texans at 6-3. Coach V, I'll start with you.
Yes.
Are you okay with those top 10? Is there anybody that you would move? More importantly, the top 3, Saints, Chiefs, and Rams, because obviously we all agree that those are the top 3 teams. But do we find them in any different order?
The only thing I would probably do is I might switch the Chiefs and the Rams. That's about it.
So you would make the Rams number 2 and the Chiefs number 3?
Yeah, and that could definitely, obviously, they both play each other coming up. So
well, that's the interesting thing. That Rams game next week is Monday Night Football. You got the Rams against the Chiefs. They've moved it out of Mexico because the field was such a mess, Ghost. I saw the field. It looked like
the field looked terrible from the pictures.
Oh my gosh, it looked horrible. It looked like a bad inner city field.
Yeah.
It was
they
horrible.
had soccer there and they had some concerts. They said
they had Shakira there a month ago. They played soccer there. Shakira. Yeah, what is it? The hips don't lie. So it's interesting that Ghost, would you have a problem? Do you have a problem with the top 3?
I think I would have put the Rams too.
Rams too?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I just think they're a better all around team than KC.
I have a tendency to agree with that, but do you have a problem with the Saints being number 1?
No, not at all.
Really?
They beat the Rams in. They beat the Rams in New Orleans.
They put it on them.
Yeah, but you just said, and I agree with you.
Consistently better.
But you just said, and I agree with you, that the Saints outside of New Orleans are not the same Saints. They're a different team.
That's been before. That was been in the past. This year, right now, they the same team no matter where you see them at.
is that Saints defense? I mean, remember just a couple of years ago, it seems like the Saints defense was a horrible defense. Now all of a sudden they've turned it around.
No, they're still not that great.
Right, that's what I'm saying. The Saints defense they score 36 points a game, okay? Kansas City's number 2 at 35. The Rams are number 3 at 33, with Pittsburgh at number 4 at 31. Let's look at the defensive side of the ball. When I look at the defensive side of the ball, the Saints are tied for 20th, giving up 25 points a game. The Rams give up 23 points a game, and the Chiefs are they're one from the worst, 31st at 24 points. What do you mean?
The first game, the Saints just lost the first. They lost the first game against the Bucs, 48-40. Then after that, they gave up 18. Then they gave up 37 to the Falcons. But
I got to refresh that, so I didn't have it ordered.
They gave up 18 to the Giants, 19 to the Skins, 23 to the Ravens, 20 to the Vikings, 35 to the Rams, and 14 to the Bengals.
Yeah, New Orleans is tied for 23rd in giving up points. Kansas City tied for 16th, and the Rams are tied for 12th, giving up 23 points a game, or number 12, giving up 23 points a game. So of the three, the Rams have the most stout defense in terms of points.
But lately they haven't been looking that great. Seattle put up over 200 rushing yards on them this past Sunday. They gave 35 to the Saints. They gave a bunch of points to the Vikings.
Who are you talking about?
The Rams.
Okay. So I mean, but
it could be skewed. I mean, I think they shut out the Cardinals. So I mean, it could be skewed on how the point the average is.
One of the games that we didn't talk about, I know we're talking about the power rankings, but one of the games we didn't talk about was the Browns and the Falcons. What happened?
Yeah, they destroyed some people in a suicide league.
As Bomani Jones would say, the Falcons going Falcon.
The Falcons are
they're the NFC version of the Jets.
No. They're just so depleted in defense. They lost both of their starting safeties. They have so many injuries on defense. I think a couple of their starting linebackers, cornerback. So they have a lot of defensive problems where they can score, but they can't stop nobody.
The Falcons?
Yeah. They lost the number 1 running back. He was out.
But to lose to the Browns?
People sleeping on the Browns. I've been telling people for weeks. The Browns are not as bad as people think they are.
I agree. Baker Mayfield had 216 yards passing on 17 for 20 goes with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
They got a good running back, and that defense is better than people.
Nick Chubb ran all over the Falcon defense like they were standing still, had 176 yards rushing and a touchdown.
And the defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. They can get after the quarterback with who was the guy the end they just drafted last year.
Who's that? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I know who you're talking about. The number 1 draft pick, Myles Garrett.
They can get with Garrett, Ogba, they can get after the quarterback.
Yeah. And
the cornerback, the first round draft pick this year, Denzel Ward, is playing out of his mind. He's playing really well.
Well, you know, Drunk Falcon, our Atlanta correspondent and all things Atlanta. He so we were on Knocker's show last week, right? And I'm listening. Knocker and Josh are going at it. Drunk Falcon calls into their show, and he says, well, he's going to call in now. I got him on the line. He says he's calling in now. And he says he would give all 3 of us the Browns plus 18 points, and the Falcons are going to win that game by more than 18. So, that's a sucker bet.
He must have been drunk.
I think he was sipping on some Crown and Coke. So if we get him in before the 10:20, because we got the great Jamal Hector calling in, Jamal Murphy calling in to talk all things NBA, and we'll see if we can get Drunk Falcon on the line so he can explain himself, if you will.
Let me look at this. I got to look at the Falcons' record. I got to look at the score.
Are they 4-5? Right?
They're 3-6. 3-6-1.
What do you mean they're 3-6-1? I got them 4-5. The record?
Yeah.
Am I looking at the wrong thing? They got a tie?
They tied to Pittsburgh the first game.
Oh, you talking about the Browns?
Yes.
Oh, there he is. 4-4. I got you. Drunk Falcon, where you at?
In the game. What's going on?
Welcome.
I just got to ask, Drunk Falcon.
What's happening, bro?
Cleveland's only lost 1 game all year by 18 points. And that was the Chargers. You had that much faith in Atlanta to put up that many points?
Look. I did what my team did Sunday. We went in there a little too overconfident, and that's what we lost. We took it right on the chin. We did what Drago did to Creed. It beat the hell out of us, and if we died, we died. And that's what happened. We died right there on that field. It was pitiful.
Now,
I took a horrible bet. I put a bet out there that was just
it
was just horrible. But I was full of my team at that point.
More money,
I mean, I feel you. Now let's talk about your Falcons real quick though. They're depleted on defense with injuries, right?
Yes, we lost our free safety. Both our safeties. Our middle linebacker comes back this week, and then we lost. We're depleted on with injuries. We're just hit. We got them on offense and we got them on defense.
Stop making excuses.
No, because they lost Freeman. He's on IR. They lost the left guard, Levitre. He's on IR. They lost the right guard, Fusco.
Stop making excuses.
He's on IR. They say Jones is just coming back. Ricardo Allen's on IR. Keanu Neal's on IR.
Did you not know that when you took that, when you made that silly bet?
He just thought Cleveland was that bad.
We thought everybody thought Cleveland was ass.
Come on. If you saw Cleveland, if you've been watching football and you've seen Cleveland, they've been in almost every game.
Cleveland might not score consistently, but that defense is not bad this year.
Yeah, we had to find out the hard way, but I won't be making that bet again.
Yeah.
Listen, they lost to the Raiders by a field goal. The Chargers blew them out. They lost to the Bucks by a field goal. The Steelers kind of blew them out, and they lost to the Chiefs, who are a great team. The Chiefs and the Steelers are good losses. The Bucks is a bad loss, but they only lost by a field goal. The Chargers, another good team, they lost by 24, and the Raiders, they lost by a field goal. So there's one, two, three games, and they should have beat Pittsburgh the opening
first game. And then even the second game, they didn't beat them by 18 points.
Absolutely, they should have beat the Saints.
The Chiefs didn't even didn't beat them by 18. Man,
were you drinking that Crown and Coke again?
He was bathing in it. He was drinking osmosis.
You know, I got issues, man. Stop that. I partake of the fine wines sometimes late at night. So when I make crazy bets like that, I got something to put it on.
I partake in the fine wines.
Listen, I gotta give Drunk Falcon credit, because to his credit, he called me on Sunday and he said, "Go ahead, you want your pound of flesh? Take it right now." I said, "I got nothing to say to you, man."
I had to, man, because I've been getting it from the north, south, east, west. It was coming. So everybody knows.
Are you betting?
Come on,
you betting on the game this week?
Everybody had their money on the Falcons to beat the Browns. Nobody expected for us to come out there and play as bad as we did.
Put it this way.
And especially not, even though Nick Chubbs is a Georgia boy, and I root for him any other time.
Oh, he crushed you. 176 yards rushing.
Ripped us off for 162.
No, it was 176. 176.
But put it this way, Falcon.
Okay. I'm sorry. I shortchanged him. My bad.
No, put it this way. If Vegas would have put that line at 18 points, nobody in America would have took the Falcons.
Nobody.
Well, see, I had a little more confidence in the team. That
see, here's the problem. Was it confidence or was it blind faith?
Always go with Vegas, man.
Was it confidence or was it blind faith?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it's just blind faith.
So did you bet with them for this week's game? You gonna double or nothing it?
I'm thinking about it.
Who the Falcons got this week? Falcons got
we play y'all.
Oh wow.
We
double or nothing. Get your money back.
Let me tell you something. I got 20 in my pocket. I'm gonna take my 20 and go home. See, I learned from Vegas, because what Vegas will do,
he gonna give you the same 18.
Nah, if you're gonna give me 18, then I'll take it.
Oh hell no! You'll never get that again. I ain't drinking tonight. I got to go to work in the morning. I ain't drinking tonight.
Run it back with the same.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna give me that 18, then I'll take it. Now hold on. The spread is 3.5. Cowboys getting 3.5.
I can't do that. What's the spread right now for the game?
Cowboys getting 3.5.
Really? Oh, damn.
You got faith in your team. Give 0-12. Give him 14 points at least.
You bait me into this one. You is not baiting me into this. I told you. Now, if I was drinking, maybe you when you get a little bit of that sauce in your system, you can tell me
get that liquid courage, right?
Hey, then I have no control over my wallet. But right now, yeah, I got control, and I believe me, right now it hurts that I lost that little bit of change. But it's to a point. We got a bad break this year with all the injuries and everything that went on with our team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to hope that come Sunday, y'all revert back to what y'all was a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, listen, anything's possible. And with the Cowboys playing the Falcons, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I have no expectations. I have hope, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm 100% with the Cowboys going into Atlanta and winning that ball game. Ghost, are you?
No.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm just not confident.
I have no faith in the coaching staff to be consistent in their plays, so I have no idea what they're going to do.
Y'all have got to tell me, how does your coach keep his job? It's not only him; it's him and Marvin Lewis. You got to tell me.
They got some information.
Listen, you know how Marvin Lewis keeps his job? Marvin Lewis keeps his job because the Bengals aren't necessarily interested in winning. They're interested in winning just enough games to make the playoffs, to keep their fans interested so that they can win one playoff game and then that's it, and they're going to make a profit. The Browns are running a business. The people think they're running a football team that's trying to win Super Bowls. They're not. They're running a business. And it looks like, unfortunately, that Jerry Jones is doing the same thing.
Well, Jerry Jones has been running a business since day one.
Right. He's not running a winning organization.
I think Jerry Jones is loyal to his own fault. And Jason Garrett is just exactly what he wants. It fits exactly. He doesn't rock the boat.
Absolutely.
He goes along whatever the people say.
Absolutely.
But he'll be going too because Jerry don't want to be embarrassed. So he has to get embarrassed.
You think Jerry Jones is going to fire Jason Garrett
if he gets embarrassed?
I don't see that.
I don't see that happening.
I can see if he gets
embarrassed. What do you mean?
Thoroughly get embarrassed, like they go out there and they lay some eggs and they get embarrassed, like Wade Phillips got embarrassed to the Packers before he fired him. They have to get thoroughly embarrassed.
I don't know.
Multiple times.
I don't see it.
If he would have got embarrassed, he got embarrassed the week before against.
I just don't see it. I don't think they're going to let this guy go.
He'll be going
anytime.
Who did they lost the week before the Titans? If he would have got embarrassed against the Eagles and then came out and got embarrassed again against the Falcons, I think there would have been some crazy changes. And I don't even think it's Garrett. I think it's more that Linehan has to go.
Well, as Troy Aikman say, he say just take the whole crew and flush them down the toilet.
Oh yeah, and that's what they mean. I'm for all of them going, but I think Linehan's going to go before Garrett.
That's a great point when I think about it. What do you think about Troy Aikman's comments about the Cowboys?
Spot on.
Well, there it is.
I mean, you can't say they don't draft well because they keep most of their players. They keep most of their players on the team. They have drafted well. I think their coaching staff just doesn't know how to use the talent.
All right, Drunk Falcon, we appreciate the call. We didn't give it to you too bad, but, on the way out, we got to just give you,
believe me, I got it bad enough from you this weekend, bro. Thank you.
Off the air, yeah, I don't want to embarrass you in front of the people, but thank you for calling in, brother. We appreciate the time. Keep it locked. We got Jamal Murphy and Gerard Hector calling in.
Oh, I'm with you. I'll catch you next week.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you.
Peace.
All right, that's Drunk Falcon, the Atlanta correspondent. He's a big-time Falcon fan, taking his medicine like a man. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming games this week. You got Detroit. Well, Thursday night game is not a bad game. Goes Carolina at Pittsburgh. What do you think about that game? Who do you got in that game?
That was last week.
Oh, that's last week?
Yeah, but
wait a minute. I'm sorry.
I got Pittsburgh big.
You're an ass. I'm looking at the wrong week. My bad. I'm week 11. Shut up, man. You're such an ass.
I got Pittsburgh big on that one. At least 20 points.
What's wrong with my computer? Why won't it update? Hold on.
The Thursday night game this week is Packers Seahawks.
Yeah, give it to me. Packers Seahawks. Who you got in that game?
It's in Seattle. Packers just so I don't know, man. I'm going with the Seahawks because it's in Seattle,
Yeah, I'm going with Seahawks too.
and the Packers are 0-4 away from Green Bay. They just it's time for McCarthy. I think it's time for them to move on from McCarthy too.
You think so?
I think he's ran his course. You can't have Aaron Rodgers there, and you're not really doing anything.
I don't know. I just feel like
is it McCarthy, or is it that they just don't draft well on? They haven't put nothing around him on defense.
that's what I think it is. I think McCarthy is doing the best he can with what he has. I don't think they have enough talent.
I think you made a bad choice in letting Jordy Nelson go.
Absolutely.
You let him go too early because he still could have been helpful on that team. Because they got a bunch of rookie wide receivers that Rodgers has to work with.
Right.
His running back isn't that bad. Aaron Jones, I think he has talent, but he just came back from injury.
How fast did they get rid of Ty Montgomery after that game?
Oh,
But and I was saying the issue with that was if they talked about if they didn't discuss what to do.
No, they did tell him what to
Yeah,
do.
no, I'm saying
Right.
if they didn't discuss what to do, I don't think they would have got rid of him because he's just trying to make a play and plus whatever. But if they discussed if the ball goes in the end zone,
Right.
take a knee,
Right.
and you just blatantly disregard it, then yeah, you have to go.
Yeah, you got to go. Because now you've disregarded the coach, and it's a battle, and he starts looking bad in the locker room, and you can't have that.
Then he said what he said. So
What did he say?
oh,
Because I hadn't heard what he said.
basically was saying how he felt like it was a betrayal and that.
Oh, who said that? McCarthy?
Ty Montgomery.
Oh, Ty Montgomery.
Yeah, he went on and said a lot of comments and basically because the people on the players on the Packers were anonymous and he was like, you know what, if you got something to say, you can talk about my play, but when you talk about my character and my family, that's a problem. If you got something to say, come see me about
Exactly.
it.
I have no problem with that either. Don't be anonymous.
Yeah, I don't have a
Put your
problem
name
with
behind what
him
you
saying
say.
it, but it was like after he said that out in public, for public consumption,
Yeah.
as they like to say, as Jalen Rose likes to say, I gotta give him his credit for that. Then I think it escalated the problem more, how
Right, 'cause now we
it
have more
should've been.
tension in the locker room.
Exactly.
But like I said, but I have no problem with what he said because if you got something to say,
Exactly.
say it. Because then my thing is that you talking behind my back, and now I don't know who in the locker room is stabbing me.
Yes, exactly. And that's what's
So
his
it's a
point.
matter of trust. You
Yeah.
can't trust certain people in the locker room.
And now, if I'm the coach, I'm going to the players and be like, look, ain't no anonymous stuff in this room. If you man enough to say it, put your name behind it. Because then if you got an issue with dude, just square up in the middle of the locker room, get your frustrations out, and then go out in the football field and practice.
How about you go out and do it on the field, not necessarily in the locker room?
No, we don't need the media to be watching.
Okay.
Ain't nobody in these
you
doors.
you can close the media out of the practice.
It's always somebody around who you can't go
All
the
right.
distance.
All right, especially with cell phones. All right, let's take a quick 2-minute break. We got Murphy calling in about 20 minutes, about 15 minutes. We got Hector calling in, so we'll keep an eye out locked on the board. I got you. I got a different music.
Royalty-free, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's non-copyrighted. We got it, brother. Huh?
The last one got us kicked off.
It was all right. It said non-copyrighted. Look at it.
No, I'm just saying. Norm sent me the picture.
Oh, is that what it was? Mm-hmm. This says, look.
Yeah. See,
Now hold on, Ghost, because I look. This is the last one. Oh, hold on, it ain't coming up. All right, well, but you see it, so you know, right?
I'm just telling you what it said. And told who the artist's name and everything.
Well, that's what it said. I just go to non-copyrighted music. So, all right, let's check it out. All right, folks, we're working out some technical difficulties on air, but you see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go with that. All right, keep it locked. 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
He lie.
Welcome back, WBKS1.com. To my right, she is.
Coach B.
To my left, he is.
Chuck you, Vic. Here you go.
And I am your host, O-Dog, in the building. We are going to move on from the NFL right now, talk a little NBA. We did a little college basketball earlier. Let me just make sure. Let me see what's going on with our guests. Make sure everything is locked up. Shout out to Sean Lovell. He's listening in parts unknown. He wants to call in and talk baseball, Ghost. I said,
I wonder what he wanted to say about baseball.
now you want to know. Don't. Man, call in if you want to ask your stinking baseball question. Call in and ask your stinking baseball question. All right? Do whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not running this thing. I'm just here trying to keep us on the track. All right, Ghost, we talked about locker room discontent when we were talking about Ty Montgomery. But there's been some locker room discontent going on with the Golden State Warriors. Last night, in last night's game, there was a play that sent the game to overtime, a game which the Warriors ultimately wound up losing. Draymond Green grabs the rebound. Kevin Durant's going like this, flashing for the ball.
Who do you want shooting the last shot?
Kevin Durant. Draymond Green takes the
Who has
ball
better
up.
handle?
I would think Kevin Durant, but I've heard that this is the way it sort of plays out. Draymond brings the ball up, and he sort of sets up the offense and moves the ball and then goes in off ball.
Yeah, 3 seconds. Yeah, like 6 seconds. You're not setting the offense up in 6 seconds.
Well, that's true. You got all the answers, huh?
I'm just talking about. I'm just saying what it
You
was.
got all the answers.
And then he fumbled the ball, lost it out of bounds.
And it sent him to overtime, and
But
the game
this
which they ultimately
isn't
lost.
the first time they've had a dust up like this on the court. They had it last year.
Now, here's the thing. Initially, I was going to ask the question to you, Coach V, and goes, well, you got your Atlanta Falcons colors on your nails. Look at you messing around with the Atlanta Falcons. She might be a secret Falcons fan over here. Let's talk to me about, do you think it's a big deal, little deal, or no deal? The dust up on the bench. Because after the bench, they go back to the bench. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green had to be separated. And guess who was playing peacemaker?
Who?
Boogie Cousins.
What?
Yeah.
Boogie Cousins was trying to calm Draymond down. Now, how crazy is that?
That is.
I want you to think about that, Ghost. Boogie Cousins, like, yo, man, calm down.
Yeah. Yep.
That's kind of crazy. All right, so what are your thoughts? Big deal, little deal, no deal, Coach V?
I don't think it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything, if it lingers, then it becomes a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. But okay. But what I think could be a big deal is if what they're saying is correct, because we weren't there, so I don't know. That the argument went from we're arguing about what happened on the court to now you're talking about my free agency and calling me a witch.
Now
would it be?
Now, wait a minute, Coach
Yeah,
V. You got
that's what he
breaking
said.
news.
That's why he got
Hold on.
suspended for the
Yeah,
game.
that's
Wait,
why
hold on. I was going to get to that. Before we talk about the suspension, big deal, little deal, no deal, Ghost?
I think it could be a big deal
I'm going to go with you.
because it's been going on since last year.
See, I am going.
Those two have been arguing since last year.
They argued on the court last year, right after during the game,
I'm going
and
with
they had
big
to be
deal as well.
separated. And then even after they won a championship, you had Livingston and David West saying now how much Kerr had to put up with their mess and how it wasn't as easy. And
Oh, really?
It was,
Yeah, I
more. It was
remember.
rockier than what people
Yeah.
thought it was.
Yeah, but that
So,
was about Draymond and KD.
I think it was about more of everything in there.
Really?
I think there might have been issues with that, but I think it shows that it's still kind of rocky. Now, if it's been rocky since last year, it can, and it's not haven't calmed down. The championship didn't calm it down some, so now it's still blowing up. And now you got the person, like they calling him out his name, getting suspended. So now how is Draymond going to take it when it comes back? Because he might be saying, "Look, are you taking his side over mine? I've been with the team." It can
Yeah.
blow up. I mean, hopefully
Yeah.
they can rein it in and be like, you know what, we need to just.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody close to me, and I said, when we
But
watched
who's-
the clip this morning, I looked at Draymond, and he had that look of a player that was like, "Look, man, we won championships without you before you got here."
And then you already had Draymond saying before the season he ain't taking no hometown discounts no more. You had KD saying he ain't taking no discounts no more.
No more.
Yeah,
When did he ever?
I guess he took less to go to. He probably could have got more if he went out to another team.
Well, that's on him now.
Yeah, but he's saying he's not taking less no more. So now it can
Okay,
get
I
ugly.
get what you're
But
saying.
who's the personality on that team that can calm everybody down?
The personality to calm everybody down, I
You
would
gotta have a
think would
forceful
be
one.
Clay or Steph, maybe?
Are they built like that?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is their personality that big enough for that where they can feel like Because there's some big egos together.
Yeah, it is. It's huge ego, huge egos. And the thing about it is, like I said, my thought when I looked at Draymond, he had this look like, listen, man, we won championships without you. If you want to go, go. We'll need you. And given what you're saying about his background, the talk that it was going on last year, it's like, yo, man, you can leave up out of here. We still gonna win. We brought you in so you could get a championship.
Exactly.
You didn't help us win one. We helped you win one. And see, now think about that.
Listen, now you take KD off of there and put him on the Lakers with LeBron and say another one.
I would like
Would you
that.
say Golden State we can easily say we win another championship without you?
No, I can't say easily. Do I think that Golden State would still be a slight favorite? I would say yes. No?
They lost to the Cavs without him. They went from
That's a
beating
fair
the
point. Hold on, let me think about that. I forgot about the fact that LeBron took him out after
and
being down
even a
3-1.
year without Kyrie,
Yeah,
they pushed him deep.
Yeah.
So and then the year with KD, they ran him off there in 5, or was it a sweep? I can't remember how many they lost last year, but
That's an interesting question, and I would love to find that answer out. I would love to have KD as a Laker.
I think they say Eagles, and hopefully because I'm not even sure that Steve Kerr is really the strong enough personality.
Oh,
to
come
calm
on,
people
man!
down.
Can we stop with the Steve Kerr? Everybody people want to stem Steve Kerr to the Hall of Fame, and I'm so sick of Steve Kerr.
Like
Steve Kerr,
this is what made Popovich and makes Phil Jackson those type of coaches, because they were more they can manage egos.
right?
Managing talent is one thing. You can
Right.
get a bunch of good talent in any NBA. Most NBA coaches can manage great talent to the playoffs and to the championship. But when you get huge egos like Jackson had with the Bulls, like he had with the Lakers, you need a different type of coach who can keep that down.
Well, Jackson with the Bulls and the Lakers. I mean, you're talking about the biggest ego of egos in the history of egos.
I mean, you brought in
Michael Jordan.
But then we had Michael Jordan and Pippen.
And
had
then
his
the
own
second-
ego. But
then
then
when
we
you
brought
bring-
in Dennis Rodman.
And when
Dennis Rodman's was off, but when he only did that when he was with Detroit.
True.
When he got to the Bulls,
But he also had Michael Jordan there to sort of keep him in line.
but still you still managed however
and
he was.
with Phil Jackson in L.A., he had the second biggest egos in the world of egos.
top
Kobe
2.
Bryant. Yeah.
And Shaq.
Well, Shaq's got a big ego. Definitely got a big ego.
He managed them for years
Hold on, who we got?
until it got to the point where he just couldn't manage them no more.
Caller from 732, state your name, where you calling from?
What's up, man? It's Gerard. How you guys doing?
Oh, there he is. The great Gerard
Hey,
Hector.
Gerard, how's it going?
What's up, brother, man? Where you
What's
been?
up?
I've been
What's
waiting
up?
for you.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. We started the NBA talk without you, but I want to get you. Talk to me about this KD. We're going to jump right in. Talk to me about this KD Draymond thing. What's going on out there, Heck?
Look, I think, Draymond is who Draymond is, right? Like, he's volatile. He's going to get a little hot under the collar when things aren't going well. And I think, KD justifiably also was a little angry that the last play didn't draw out the way it's supposed to, right? He had 33 points last night in that game, and, rightfully so, best player on the floor. It's probably like, hey, man, just give me the ball and I got this. And, Draymond didn't take too talent to KD chirping at him about it, so they kind of have a little bit of a spat. The other thing, too, obviously, as we heard in the report, is that the sort of back and forth had to deal with it went into KD's pending free agency, which of course is something that's going to hang over the team's head, until this summer, whether or not he stays or goes. And all those things sort of piled up, and Draymond, it obviously affected Draymond. No matter what the Warriors say, KD's free agency will hang over their head. Will it affect them long term in terms of not winning the title? If they don't win the title, I don't think that'll be the reason. This team's too good; they're too talented. So I don't know that this is going to stop them from winning a title.
So, in spite of all I won't say all, but in spite of this little bit of a dust up, let me ask you this question: do you regard this as a big deal, a little deal, or no deal at all?
No deal.
Really? The fact that they suspended Draymond Green for a game without pay, and you still say, no deal.
Yeah, I still say no deal only because I think, again, those guys all know what's at stake. They all want the opportunity to three-peat, go down in NBA history as one of the great teams of all time. And then the other side of it is that, yes, Draymond got suspended, but really management and the ownership, right, sort of in a way made their line in the sand clear, right? They were like, okay, well, they were like, of all the people in this situation, KD's the most important player, right? Which he is. I mean, Steph's already signed to his deal, right? So if it comes to it in the end and they can't pay anybody, they're going to sign Kevin before they sign Draymond or Clay, right? Because that's the guy.
It's funny you say that because I thought it was interesting that they suspended Draymond as opposed to anybody else because I feel like Draymond, and I just told Ghost and Coach V this, that in that moment he had this look on his face that was like, look, man, we won before you, we'll win after you, so you can go if you want to go, but we here. I've been here. I won 2 championships prior to you getting here.
Well, and the reality is that plays into it as well. Right now, it was 1 championship before KD got there, right?
My bad. It was 1. My bad.
So no, that's fine. So one for Draymond. 2, again, I think Draymond also knows, and the Warriors know because the Warriors obviously made that decision to suspend him. If they want to continue this light years thing, like we're light years at everybody else, and continue this dynastic run, they know they need KD here. Okay. Granted, they won 1 before KD. They did not win another one before KD, right? They lost that 3-1 lead to the Cavaliers, right?
That's right.
So Kevin Durant's presence on this team is vital if their goal is we are trying to do something dynastic here. It just is. Because those other teams out there in the league that want to win are getting better, right? It isn't like everyone's waiting, kind of hanging out like, we'll see what happens. Like, they're getting better. So if they want to continue this, they need him there.
All right, now speaking of getting better, but not getting better, I know we talked about this last year, and I got to bring it up. You must not have seen anything in the Houston Rockets players' eyes this year. What is going on with the Houston Rockets? And more importantly, what is going on with Carmelo Anthony?
Well, I will say this. The Rockets were in town, what, two weeks ago?
Did you get in the locker room? Did you see anything?
Good in their eyes 2 weeks ago. Definitely not. I was in that locker room, and those eyes were not looking good. I was like, oh, geez.
Now, wait a minute. What did they look? Did they look like not confident? Talk to me about what you saw. You're in the locker room. That's why we bring you on here, Gerard. Tell me what you saw from this Houston Rocket team.
I saw a team, to be honest, that was still experiencing the hangover of losing that Western Conference Finals last year to the Warriors. I mean, this is a team that, they were up 3-2, right? Had that chance, and were up in Game 6 and Game 7. Chris Paul gets hurt with the injury, obviously, but they race out to that huge lead in the regular season in terms of having the best record overall. They play on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. To do all that and then to lose the way they did and come up short, I don't care who you are. That stuff's got to bother you. It's interesting. I look back at a team who, you guys remember, it was the 2013, the Spurs, when they lost that series in the finals to the Miami Heat. That was the Ray Allen series where he hits that crazy 3 for Game 6 and all that.
That was wonderful.
The Spurs came back the next year, motivated, right, and won the title. The Rockets did not come back motivated this year, right? I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on. Look, Chris Paul is a year older. That is problematic. Clint Capella got paid. Who knows? Like, he's not coming out with the same force. They haven't really turned it around in the way that you assume they would after losing in such heartbreaking fashion. And again, losing like that affects different teams and different players differently. And this had the negative effect on the Rockets. And they've got to snap out of it right now. It's early, but, you don't want to get too behind the 8 ball here.
Yeah, I'm stunned that it would have a hangover effect, that loss. You kind of, I thought teams were supposed to be, like a jump shooter. You keep shooting. You forget about the last shot. You think about the next shot. You don't worry about that. You just move forward. That you probably could have taken that series, but for the Chris Paul injury. And you're telling me that's a team that looks like they're still having a hangover. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, so you look at something like the Warriors, right? The Warriors have hangovers when they win the title, right? They'll come back lethargic, start the season and not look great. It's just it affected this team very differently because I really believe that they had that series, right? I mean, they really could have won it. And
now, let me cut you off, though. Doesn't that speak to
Yep.
Doesn't that speak to the culture, the attitude, the whole organization? Because when you're right there, and instead of you saying, listen, I see a team that knows they were right on the precipice of a championship, and they are hungry, and they feel confident, and they know they can beat this team. You're saying, here's a team that's looking back on it and saying, man, we had them, but we just couldn't get over that hump, and now we don't know what to do.
Yeah, they're sort of having an Eeyore sort of response.
Right, it's like, I just don't know what to do anymore. But it wasn't because they beat you outright. It's because you had an injury to one of your best players. I would think that would be motivation to say, hey, look, guys, we were right there. We had these guys on the ropes, getting ready to knock them out, and then we slipped and fell. So let's get back up off the mat, and let's get back in the game and take these suckers out.
Agreed. That's how you would assume a team would take it. But for whatever reason, I don't believe that this team is taking it that way. Not to mention, the sort of the roster being switched around a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you let go of Ariza and Mbabute.
That matters.
I mean, come on. What is with the Houston Rockets organization when you were 40? I mean, basically a game away from beating this team, and you just start letting some of your better players go.
A quarter away.
Yeah. I mean, how do you let that happen? Because you're afraid of playing a little bit extra in the luxury tax. Like, come on, man. So at some point, you got to put your chips all in and say, look, we're getting after it. We're keeping these guys. We thought we were right there. We've got enough players. We added Melo. Talk to me about Melo. What's up with the Melo effect? Is his career over in the NBA? It seems like it's over in Houston. Is it over in the NBA?
It's definitely over in Houston. In terms of the NBA, look, Melo isn't the reason why Houston is playing the way they're playing, right? So I want people to make sure they understand that. He isn't the reason why they're not playing well. Now, he's not helping them, but it isn't like, okay, we brought Melo on and he's this cancer in a locker room and nothing to do with that. Look, Carmelo Anthony is just not the player he once was. That is very evident and obvious. He, for whatever reason, he can't shoot jumpers these days. I don't know what's going on there. And he took the role that was ascribed to him at the beginning of the season, which is to come off the bench, right? He did that.
Yeah.
It's just he's not playing well anymore. And the thing is, it's fallen off a cliff fast for him.
So fast.
The way his game plays and the way he likes to operate, it is not jiving right now for whatever reason. Physically, it's just not there for him. And I don't know, honestly, where he goes from here because I don't really think that – because here's the thing. He's not going to help any contending team, right? I just don't see that. And unless you're a team who is like, okay, we need to get bring our attendance numbers up or something, I want to bring some guy in here like Carmelo Anthony to help us, that's the only thing I could think of because I don't really know what he is right now as a player in the NBA.
All right, hang in there, Gerard. We got the great Jamal Murphy in. Murphy with us?
I'm with you. What's up, guys?
All right. What's up, brother? Thank you for calling in. You're always welcome, as part of this show. Now, Murph, we're talking about Melo. I know you had some words to say on the text. Me, you, and our partner, Julian. We got our big five here now. Talk to me about what's going on with Melo and the Houston Rockets. Why are the Rockets not playing well as they did last year? And more importantly, what is the future for Carmelo in the NBA? We know it's over for him in Houston. Where does he go from here?
Well, as far as where he goes, we'll see. I disagree a little bit that he can't help a contender. I think he could help. He's not a starter or a guy that's going to get you 20 points a night anymore. But I definitely think he could help with spot scoring, the bench. He's a smart player, he's an experienced player. He's been in all situations before, so I think he could help a team. I'm not sure what team that is. Definitely not the Lakers because the Lakers, have a hard enough time doling out playing time as it is. So, we'll see. I think he'll latch on somewhere. I just have no clue where yet. In terms of the Rockets and the way they dealt with Melo, I think it was a scapegoat type of situation for D'Antoni and the Rockets. They started off really slow. Obviously, they were missing. They're missing their defensive coordinator in Vesdelic. So they started off slow defensively and offensively and health-wise, too. They didn't have Harden for a bunch of games. They had Paul for a couple. He was out a couple games plus a suspension. So there were a whole bunch of reasons why they weren't playing well. And I think, I don't know what's on as far as D'Antoni's concerned. You had to know what kind of player Melo was when you signed him. You didn't sign him to be a defensive player in the first place, so you can't tell me you're mad now that he's not playing defense. I think D'Antoni was chomping at the bit to embarrass Melo after the New York situation.
That's a damn shame. Go ahead, Ghost.
No, I agree with him.
It's a damn shame that grown men still holding grudges in a professional environment like that. Now, I want to go back. I want to circle back for a second, Murph, because we talked about it with Gerard, but I want to get your opinion on this Golden State, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green situation. Big deal, little deal, no deal?
That's a good question. I can't say only because I don't know what was said. You know what I'm saying? If things got personal in that exchange, it could be a big deal. So I'm not sure what went back and forth. It didn't look good, and then the reports are that the problems continued after the game, and that words, all kind of words were said for the most part against Draymond. I think it's obvious as far as the play goes that Draymond made a mistake. I thought, watching the game live, I thought as soon as he got the rebound, he should have called timeout. I didn't even see at the time KD wide open clapping for the ball, but either should have called timeout or give KD the ball. But I mean, that's basketball. I mean, he got the ball. It was a split-second decision. He decided to dribble up the court. He made a mistake. I understand KD clapping for the ball, but then complaining afterwards. I mean, like I said, this is basketball. That kind of stuff happens. I don't know why you would get that upset about it. Just move on. He made a mistake, move on. So I think both guys are at fault. KD for probably taking it further than it had to go, and then Draymond, we know he's the type of person probably never going to admit a mistake. So I'm sure both guys are probably at fault. I don't know how bad it is because I don't know what was said exactly.
Coach V, talk to me about.
That's actually interesting.
Hold on, hold on for a minute, Rod. Coach V, talk to me about your thoughts about the Golden State Warriors situation. What are your thoughts about what happened on the bench? Do you feel like it's something that could be repaired? Do you feel like it's something that's going to linger?
I mean, probably if it wasn't KD, I'd probably say it's something that could be repaired. But he has shown himself to be very sensitive as of late. When anybody tries to question him or offer any kind of critique on him, he seems to take it very personally. So I would say that if it was somebody else, it could be repaired, but not with this, because to add to that, like you said, Draymond, he's not going back down from anybody, and I have seldom seen him be willing to offer an apology, especially if he feels he's right. So this will be some of Steve Kerr's fancy footwork if it works.
Is Steve Kerr, I'll go to you, Murph, is Steve Kerr a strong enough personality to handle what looks like maybe some cracks in the wall early, though it may be? Can he repair this? Does he have enough cachet? Is he Greg Popovich enough?
Yeah, I think he can repair. I don't know about repair, but he can put a Band-Aid on there enough to get him through the season. Even what I said before about not knowing how bad it really is. I think as far as this season and those guys when it matters coming together and playing as well as they can, I don't think it's a problem. Now long term, it could have an effect on what KD does after the season, but he probably kind of knows what he wants to do already. So we'll see. I think Kerr has seen it all. He played with Jordan. Back in the '90s when the Bulls were winning championships, Jordan punched him in the face and all. he's seen it all. You know what I'm saying? So I think he at least has the expertise to navigate it.
Yeah, he had the Jordan punch. Yeah, I think that's a great point because he's been through some trials and tribulations and some challenging situations with the Bulls, with Michael Jordan. He played with the biggest egos that you could ever imagine. So I'm sure he knows, or at least has some experience on how to handle that. Now let's move on to another NBA topic. Murph, talk to me about the Jimmy Butler trade and Markelle Fultz. Did the Philadelphia 76ers get better? And if so, Where does Markelle Fultz? I watched him shoot a free throw yesterday. He looked like Charles Barkley swinging a golf club. I mean, it looked horrible.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Butler and the Butler trade and making the 76ers better, I think there's no question it makes them better. They needed a third guy, and they might have got a first or second guy. We'll see in terms of second guy. I think Embiid will always get the ball. But Butler, he's a winner. I don't care what people try to slam him. Oh, he hasn't won anything. Yeah, but
I was about to say that too. What has he won?
Right, he hasn't won it. I mean, but he's been on winning teams, which is saying a lot in the NBA. You can't cook. I mean, only one guy. Only one team wins every year. You got to give guys credit for putting their team in position to win. He does that every team he's been on. He's a hard-nosed defensive player, plays both ends, really all-around offensive player. We know he's tough. So I think that's a huge get for Philly. As far as Markelle Fultz, I mean, obviously he's not there yet. I'm not calling him a bust yet. It's so early. He basically didn't even play his first year, so you got to look at this like his rookie year. Obviously, he's all mixed up mentally. He has the yips at the foul line. That's never a good sign. But I'm not gonna bury him just yet. Maybe Butler is good for him. Maybe Butler can get in his ear, and Fultz can produce by the end of the season.
Gerard, same question. I mean, talk to me. Have you ever seen anybody with the yips at the free throw line like that?
I mean, not like that, but I mean, we've definitely seen sort of players who used to be able to do something really well and not do well. Nick Anderson comes to mind when he missed those free throws in the playoffs in the '90s, and since then was never a good free throw shooter as he was prior to. The Sixers were here. What was that, Murph? A week and a half ago when they played the Nets, and we were on the court prior to the start of the game, and I was near Markelle while he was warming up, and you could see that every time a coach walked by him while he was warming up, they were constantly giving him encouragement and praise, like, "You're looking good, Markelle. This is great. You're looking good," pumping him up. So clearly, the young man is going through something from a mental standpoint. What? I don't know, but something is going on mentally with him. We saw the report come out yesterday or 2 days ago that he split with Drew Hanlon, who was his workout shooting guy. That he would do stuff with. That's no longer happening. So something definitely is up with Markelle from a mental standpoint. And look, Philly's got to ride with this because they're on the hook for it, right? They're the ones who in that draft took him ahead of everyone who they took him ahead of, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I mean, he's their guy, and they've got to kind of go with this. And so
I
think it's telling though that in the Jimmy Butler trade, he was not part of the trade. I think that's very telling. And not telling from the Philly side, telling from the Minnesota side, they were like, "No, we don't want him."
I take it. I equated to Chuck Knobloch. And,
couldn't throw from second to first.
What's the guy? Played for the Dodgers.
Yep.
Came to the Yankees. All-star. They were good Gold Glove defenders, and all of a sudden they just couldn't throw from second to first base.
That's crazy.
It gets mental when you start thinking too much, and that's what folks is just starting to think. He's thinking way too much now.
Sean in chat says that he's labeling Markelle Fultz.
Steve Sachs, that's right.
Oh, Steve Sachs. Sean Lavelle's labeling Markelle Fultz a bust. He's in chat. He's saying he give it up. He's done.
Give it up, retire.
Well, where do you go from this, Murph? I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bust
yet,
but I'm saying after shooting those free throws, I mean, what do you do with a guy like that? How do you address that when you see a guy who simply can't? It just seems like he's just. I don't understand it because it's never happened to me, thank God, on any level. Not that I'm a pro basketball player on any level, but I'm saying to be able to do something that I've done my whole life and then all of a sudden not be able to do it, it just seems foreign to me.
It's a block.
I mean, it's mental. It's a mental. He needs a sports psychiatrist. He's obviously thinking too much, and not just the free throws. I mean, you could tell when he's on the perimeter. You remember it started like the first game of the year when he was on the perimeter and the crowd is like begging him to shoot the ball, making noise in the crowd every time he's wide open, imploring him to shoot, and he wouldn't shoot. So the fans probably should get some blame here too. I mean, he's been thinking since, from day one, especially this year, and that's not a good thing on the basketball court. You want to think as little as possible. You want to play instinctively, and so I mean, that's, to me, it's 100% mental, obviously. and he needs to go to a sports. I mean, if he's not already, I'm sure they're doing that already. I hope, but it's going to take time. And you're right. Maybe like Gerard said, all that encouragement. Maybe that's what the sports psychologist tells him to do. Like, you got to boost his confidence, and hopefully it works at some point.
Put down a newspaper and turn off social media.
Maybe that'll
Because
help.
every time you pick up the newspaper, people are talking about your shot and how you're a bust and how it's not working. That's going to weigh on his mind. So it's just.
Well,
I hate to see it happen to a young man because this is what, second year. It's terrible.
I'll start with you, Gerard.
Right. I mean, and he's a young kid.
I'll start with you, Gerard. Let me ask you this. We got a suggestion in the chat from Sean. He says send him down to the G League. Is that a good idea? Would that be a good idea, or would that do further damage? Gerard, go first.
I think because of where he was drafted and what was projected on him, that will definitely impact him from a mental standpoint. But again, working with a sports psychologist and working with a performance coach may help him in that regard. And if they decide the G League is somewhere to go, do it. Because look, the kid needs reps and confidence with reps. He's not getting it at the NBA level right now, and I don't know if he's going to be able to. Now, the idea is, okay, if you move him back to the bench, maybe it's cool because then he's going against second stringers, right? But these are still NBA second stringers, right? So yeah, he's not doing that against the top flight elite point guards in the league, but still guys who can guard. And I just I don't know mentally, again, because I am not a psychologist. I don't know where he's at and what's in his frame of mind, and I don't even know if he knows what's in his frame of mind right now. And it's just troubling for them, and it's a tough place to sort of live out that in front of the world on a public stage. Very hard.
Murph, G League or not?
Yeah, I actually think it wouldn't be a terrible idea. Giles from Sacramento did that this year. Like, he went down there, dropped 30, and came back the first game back. He was productive, so it can help your confidence if he can go to the G League and dominate, which he probably could. Remember, the kid hasn't been completely bad when you look at the numbers. I mean, he's like they've been playing about 20-something minutes, and he comes out there with like 12 points, 6 rebounds, assists sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So he's able to stuff to be a stat stuffer, but he's not confident in his shot. That's really the one part of his game that he has no confidence in, and it's a problem that he's playing with Ben Simmons, another guy who doesn't shoot at all. So you have a backcourt of guys who refuse to shoot, and so it only highlights what he's doing more. So it's circumstances. But to answer your question, I think that I don't think the G League would be a bad thing.
All right, guys, I'll start with you, Gerard, since you called in first. Let the people know where they can find you, man.
They can find me at JS Hector on Twitter, Instagram, Black Sports Online, BET.com, and 7 Footers Podcast.
All right, Murph, you next. Tell us where we can find you. Let the people know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, check me out at Blacketologist on Twitter and Instagram, and, of course, the Bill Rhoden on Sports podcast with the legendary Bill Rhoden.
Gentlemen, as always, thank you for making our show a little bit better. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to it. We still got to get you in studio.
Yes. I will say this, though. Joel Embiid is carrying my fantasy team on his back. I love him.
Oh, my God. It's all about
let me say, I was watching, I got to shout out Georgetown. I was watching college basketball today. Georgetown, you got to check out their 2 freshman guards. They put on a show, one at Illinois. We haven't seen guards like this at Georgetown in about 15 years. So check them out.
Real quick, two things.
I'm just glad you didn't mention that person's name.
No, real quick. I want to get both of you guys' opinion on what's going on down in Duke with Zion Williamson.
Oh boy, let Murph go first because he.
Wait a minute, I know Murph is a Zion guy, so go ahead, Murph.
Oh man, please! I mean that. First of all, like I was saying when I was watching, they remind me on the court of the Fab Five, not off the court in terms of their cultural impact and all that. But on the court.
Slow your roll, player. Slow your roll. You're talking about an iconic group of 5. Hold on, Murph. Hold on, Murph. You're not just going. Hold the damn phone. You're not just going to say they remind you of the Fab Five and slide that in there. We're talking about the Fab Five.
No slide. It's no slide. I mean, it is what it is. You could say that Zion is like a Weber. The other kid is like a Jalen Rose. No. The other kid is like a Jawan Howard.
No.
You know, what am I saying? It's not that crazy.
They're not
that
good.
Didn't even win
It's 2 games. It's 2 games. It's only 2 games.
I'm just talking about athletically on the court. It's not hard to see. You don't have to. How many games you got to watch to see how good somebody is at basketball and how athletic they are. It doesn't take that long.
All right,
Gerard, they got the top 3. They got the top 3 players in their class. I mean, it was predicted that it was going to be that type of situation.
So you got Duke winning this thing already, huh?
I'm glad they changed it. I'm glad they changed their scheme.
All I know is I'm a Duke fan this year for the first time ever. I'll tell you that much.
Wow, I'm never a Duke fan.
Oh my gosh,
I'm just glad these kids are one and done, because otherwise they stay at Duke long enough, they're going to ruin their career.
Gerard, talk to me about Zion. Give me a more measured approach. Give me a more reasonable and balanced approach.
Well, as always, I'm going to throw a little bit of water on that. Look, as I told Murph, listen, Zion is better than I thought he was, because all I saw were YouTube highlights of him dunking. I was like, man, what else can this kid do? He showed me some things. Look, he might end up being the best player in college basketball by year end. Will they win the national championship? I have no idea. I mean, look, it's a one-and-done tournament, so anything can happen. I will say this. If they play defense like the way they're capable of, they're going to be a really, really tough out. I think that RJ Barrett's excellent. He may actually be the better pro of the two of them, in my opinion, but it's early, so we still have to wait and see. And Cam Reddish, we always forget about that guy. Great shooter, Cam Reddish. Look, Duke's done well with this haul. Coach K he's now doing the Calipari model of taking one and dones, which he's been secretly doing for a long time, but no one seemed to notice. They'll be another good team, whether or not they win it at all. I'm not ready to say all that. Fab Five, it's blasphemous. Let's not go there. But this team is really, really good, and these freshmen are excellent.
All right, and finally, I want to give a shout out to Jamal and his new son, Zane is his name.
People just having babies all over the place.
Zane,
and same to you, right?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. But I would be remiss.
Congrats, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just want to give a shout out to Jamal and his family, Kareem and the lovely wife Monique. So tell everybody we wish them well, and we hope to see you guys soon. We'll have a play date and hang out all together. All right.
Definitely. We gotta have another cookout, man.
There you go. There you go. All right, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you again for calling in, and we'll get you in studio sometime in the very, very near future. All right.
All right,
guys. Take it easy.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, folks. It's been a tremendous night, as Chair would say. The great Jamal Hector. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up names. Gerard Hector and Jamal Murphy, we do appreciate their time and their insight. They are in the locker rooms of NBA teams. They are there on the front line, so we get a firsthand insight. Sean, you're crazy. Everybody should leave college early if you have the talent. Stop with that. You do not stay in school if somebody's going to pay you to work, especially if they're going to pay you millions to work.
He made a point saying that Duke is they've been doing the one and done for a while, but
yes,
the difference now is that they're changing their strategy offensively to cater to the one and dones. Mm-hmm. Whereas Kentucky catered to their talent.
Absolutely.
Where Duke would get a one and done, but they wanted to force that one and done into that structure that they've kept for the longest, and then that was just not.
The crazy thing was Kentucky scored in the Kentucky Duke game that just went by. Kentucky scored 84 points and lost by 30 plus. Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, they got down.
They scored 84 and lost by 30.
Yeah, got out of hand.
Ouch! All right, folks, we appreciate your time. Sean and Chat, Drunk Falcon, thanks for calling in. Shout out to Bud Knocker, Sportscast Live tomorrow, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. West, 9 p.m. East. Shout out to Josh Pacheco, even though he didn't call in, he got scared. I told him I was going to shut him down. And I said, you know what, Ghost? I said, it won't even be me. I said, watch Ghost. I said, watch yourself when you call into this show, because we give it to you the real, rough, rugged, and raw. Coach V, thank you. Ghost, thank you. Yeah. And as we always say, you cannot play the game unless you are in the game. Good night, folks. Good night.